Unit 2, Personal Ownership of Safety as a Cornerstone for Safety Excellence. What are the outcomes? Understand the concept of safety ownership for safety. Indicate how safety excellence relates to safety ownership. Explain what aspects help to create excellence in safety. And indicate the factors that influence employee ownership of safety. Alright. A design is only successful if the people who use the design do so in a safe and responsible manner. This ownership of safety forms a vital part in the quest for safety excellence. It is a psychological science and has many facets that are related to job satisfaction, employee engagement, and behavioral safety. Okay, so this chapter, an introduction on how we as individuals in the workplace and working in teams can work together to ensure a safe working environment by implementing strategies and updating and monitoring them according to specific tasks at hand. Okay. Accepting that safety and the responsibilities of safety compliance in the workplace is a very important aspect of taking ownership of what that safety is for the company and ensuring that we do not have any incidents in the workplace. Okay. Following those rules, ensuring a safe and hygienic working environment only contributes to a safer working environment and an increase in behavioral safety and job satisfaction based on the roles you have to play in the company. Okay, personal ownership of safety explained. Ownership of safety gives employees a reason to belong to a company. Okay, ownership is not something that can be demanded. Each employee must decide to own his or her own work. Okay, you cannot go into a company and not take responsibility or ownership of what your roles and responsibilities are. Okay, you need to know, this is my job, this is what I'm going in to do, and every day you go in and you strive for excellence. That is the only way we can be successful in what we do in a company. Okay. Now that exact concept relates to safety in the workplace. You need to accept and understand as an employee or a safety officer in the company, you need to understand and accept that ownership of what your contribution is to the safety and ensuring the well-being of the workforce. Okay, ownership is an aspect of employees that cannot be measured or enforced. So we cannot force someone to comply to a company's safety rules, and it is difficult to measure that ownership. Okay, because each individual will interact differently based on how they've accepted that ownership of complying to the safety of a company. That is why safety officers and safety reps are so important to motivate and to ensure that employees do want to do better and ensure their ownership and acceptance of the safety standards of a company is followed. Okay, the first step to ownership is to have accountability within an organization. Okay, take accountability as an employee or a safety officer. Okay, know what you need to do and know what the policies and strategies are in the organization. The way to improve ownership is to create an environment where employees are more likely to choose to own their work through responsibility and accountability. Okay, so putting this in a health and safety perspective, you as the safety officer or the safety rep need to ensure that the workforce is motivated, that they actually understand what they're doing. Okay, and a way of motivation and allowing the workforce to take accountability and increase their responsibility in the workforce is allowing them to go on health and safety training. Okay, uplifting them, giving them illegal appointment letters according to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. You can give them responsibility, improve their job satisfaction. Okay, that will motivate them to improve their ownership and accountability of the safety in the workforce. Okay, so what is safety excellence? Many safety officers and supervisors have been lulled into thinking that zero accidents means safety excellence, okay? And that is not a correct mannerism of thinking. We cannot just assume because there are no accidents, now the company has a perfect safety system, because that is never the case, okay? A lot of the times, things are not reported, okay? Incidents are not reported. Or there are multiple near misses or injuries, minor injuries that are overlooked, okay? We are always in a room to be able to improve, okay? Perhaps there's no accidents because there's no safety implemented. There is no understanding of what needs to happen to ensure the safety of the employees. Achieving safety excellence starts at the top of the organization, where the leaders must show a clear commitment to safety measures through their values and beliefs. And that is demonstrated through the HSE policy of a company. Every company must have an HSE policy, which indicates what their leadership's commitment is, how they ensure the health and safety of their workforce and of their customers and visitors to their site. Okay, we need to show what our excellence is and how we achieve that through our HSE policy, and that comes from top management. Okay, and that HSE policy is then trickled down to the workforce through the safety reps and safety officers. They will ensure that the HSE policy is then followed and adhered to, so everyone knows what the values and beliefs are of the leaders in the company. However, it is not only the top management that has influence over this culture. It is strengthened from the bottom of the workforce. Okay, so if this is saying that safety excellence can be achieved, okay, once we have our HSE policy written up, we know what the expectations are of the company. The safety officers and safety reps then distribute that and ensure the workforce understand and know what the company's HSE policies and requirements are. And then that is where the ownership comes from the bottom. The workforce at the bottom, the laborers, the technicians, okay, the day-to-day workers. They are the ones that are exposed to the high risks and the incidents on site, okay. So it is at that bottom level where we strengthen and actually achieve our safety excellence, with the safety officers and the safety reps ensuring that that bottom level is complying and understand and take ownership of the safety of the company. By doing that, we can create a union of the company and have safety excellence. Remember, when we have a understanding of the HSE policy in the company, we can create an environment where employees at the bottom feel comfortable to approach the safety officers or the safety reps or management, which allows them to want to report incidents or report near misses. Okay, that is how we improve and prevent and ensure safety excellence in the company. So, how do we go about achieving the safety excellence? Well, there are 9 different points here. Firstly, a company can create their safety strategy, like I had just said. They can create a safety culture. They can create trust, have competent leadership, have commitment, have compliance with safety rules, teamwork, proactive actions, and continual improvement. These are 9 different ways a company can achieve safety excellence. So let's go over them briefly. A safety strategy. Here, this refers to the strategies and HSE policies and HSE management system the company has in place. Okay, how do we report incidents? How do we report near misses? What happens once we report it? Okay, we need to have a plan in place to know what each person's responsibility is and how we go about our day-to-day operations to ensure a safe working environment. Okay. A comprehensive safety strategy will aid in keeping the focus on ongoing improvements and steer efforts towards the path to excellence. Okay, a safety culture. A safety culture is not separate from the overall culture within an organization. Okay, so this comes from the leadership and the safety officers. How are we creating a safety culture? Are we promoting behavioral safety? Okay, is our workforce actually competent? Have they been on first aid training? Have they been on firefighting training? If they're working on heights, have they gone on the working on heights applicable training? Okay, it is all about creating a safety culture. And by doing that, we ensure that we are uplifting our workforce, making competent individuals, which will motivate them in becoming and taking ownership and trying to strive for safety excellence. Okay, the third point was trust. Okay, employees who feel they are not trusted to perform their best will not give their best. Okay, so if the employees are working, okay, and you as the safety officer or the safety rep are on top of them, watching them, making sure they're not even going to scratch a nail, they are not going to perform adequately. Okay, they're going to feel like they are not trusted to actually execute their job, and when that happens, that's when more incidents and near misses take place. So we need to create an environment where we show we actually trust our employees and the workforce, and allow them to do their job and step in when we see a unsafe act, and not to sit there waiting for the unsafe act to take place. Okay. When employees feel that they cannot trust their leaders, no open communication or transparency takes place. And when that happens, there will be no reporting of near misses. There will be no reporting of incidents they may have seen somewhere else along the site. Okay, so we need to ensure we create an environment where the employees feel trusted to communicate and perform their jobs adequately. Important leadership. Okay, leadership is a way to influence and inspire others. Now, that does not only come from the top management of the company, it comes from the safety officers and safety reps. You are the ones that have been appointed for these positions as the 8.5 or the 17. Okay, according to the Occupational Health and Safety Act in the legal appointment letters. Okay, you as the safety officers and safety reps need to inspire the workforce. Okay, you are the ones enforcing the overall company strategy and policy. So we need to indicate that we as the safety officers know what the values and beliefs are to inspire the employees to work safely and conduct a better quality job. All right, which comes to the commitment. Okay, in order to inspire, we need to be able to be committed to what we have written down in our HSE policies and in our HSE management systems of the company. Okay, we cannot draw up these policies and strategies if no one actually complies to them. Okay, if leadership at top management do not actually comply and commit to what they've written down in their strategies, why would the bottom level workforce do the same and follow if top management is not? Okay, so commitment must not only come from management, as it is the employees who carry out these tasks. So if management is committed, we will see an increase in commitment of the workforce, okay, to improve our safety, okay. Compliance with safety rules. All right, perhaps your company is going to work on an oil and gas terminal. All right, what's going to happen there? They're going to have their own set of safety rules and standards where you, as the company safety officer, need to comply. Okay, what do they require for the safety file? What PPE do they require? Okay, we need to ensure we comply with all the safety rules for not only our company, but our customers as well. All right. And that all, again, comes from our safety culture of the company. And again, teamwork. Remember, safety does not happen in isolation. It has to work in a team. We need to not only look out for ourselves, but we need to look out for others. Because if something happens to the person next to us, there's a high possibility if they're going to get injured, you're going to get injured right next to them. Okay, so working as a team can prevent major incidents in a company. Okay. Proactive actions. Okay, another way that companies can go about improving their safety excellence. Measures are those that prevent accidents and injuries from happening in the first place. So an example of a proactive action is before we go into site, we've done a detailed risk assessment, okay, and then we've identified the mitigations that can ensure that when we arrive to site and execute the job, we will be safe. All right. But just because you've done a risk assessment at the beginning of the job does not mean that throughout the day you will not be exposed to potential incidents and near misses. Because environmental factors change continuously. That is why when we're doing high risk work, we have safety officers on site to monitor. Because when the employees are conducting their jobs of carrying out the task, for example, changing a pipe, okay, or doing draining on a pipeline, they are not looking at, oh my word, I'm going to slip here or slip here. They're trying to get the job done and actually execute their training and competence, whereas you as a safety officer then come in and watch over to ensure that they're not going to slip. And if they're going to slip, you're going to stop the job and warn them. Okay, that is how it happens. And then lastly, continual improvement. All right, like I said, if we do a risk assessment for the job, it does not mean that things are going to change. Okay, tomorrow there might be rain, which means you need to do a new risk assessment based on the additional risks and hazards the workforce will be exposed to. Safety does not just happen one time at the beginning of the job or beginning of a company and stop. It needs continual improvement, continual training, continual updating of the policies, continual updating of the risk assessments. Okay, and reasons to build employee ownership of safety. Why? Okay, do we want to ensure that employees in our company actually take ownership of safety? Well, like we've said, it's going to ensure that the employees are motivated in the workforce. It's going to improve the company performance because everyone knows what they're doing. Okay, they're competent. Ensures everyone's safe through employee well-being. The workforce is motivated, enhances reputation and employee engagement. Okay, so ensuring ownership and safety excellence in the company can really improve your company performance to strive for safety excellence. Okay, so what are the influences on ownership of safety? So if you as an individual actually take in the responsibility of taking control of ownership of safety and accountability in the company, you're going to see behavioral changes in yourself. Okay, interpretation of safety, ownership, and communication. Okay, here we're going to be understanding and be competent in what we actually have taken in from our training of our HSC and actually communicate and ensure that the workforce is safe. Okay, number 3, engaged or disengaged employees. Okay. Sustaining safe behavior through reinforcement and feedback. Management's role, recognition, seeing the big picture, and collaborative decision making and participation. So when you as an individual actually take ownership of safety, it influences a whole lot of different aspects of changes and a contribution to the behavioral safety culture of the company. Okay, like we said earlier, it will improve the performance. It will ensure that the safety of the company is actually being complied to. Okay, and then lastly, assessment tools to determine ownership levels in the workplace. So as the safety officer or the safety rep or management, we can go about 5 different ways, using 5 different tools to determine ownership of safety in the workplace. We can use surveys. Okay, here we can go and ask questions based on certain safety standards, okay, which will identify if our workforce actually know any of the safety standards of the company and what they are. Okay, here we can also use accountability versus ownership, right? By looking at this assessment tool, it will indicate different questions and statements which you will then go and assess your workforce with and identify, do they actually take accountability of what they are doing? All right. Responsibility, authority, and accountability checklist. Okay. Here it will be another checklist that we can mark off and assess our workforce, and it will identify, are they actually taking responsibility of what they are doing? Okay. 4th, a critical leadership evaluation. Okay, here we can assess capabilities based on different categories. We can look at performance. Okay, evaluate the performance. We can evaluate communication. We can evaluate behavioral capabilities. Okay, and then lastly, measures of morale. In order to measure this, here we can get the organization's feedback and reports on staff turnover. Is it high? Is it low? Absenteeism. Is it high? Is it low? Okay, this will indicate the commitment and ownership of safety in the workforce. Okay, an example of one of the assessment tools is the accountability ownership continuum. Okay, accountability. Now, this is a second assessment tool that you can use to assess ownership of safety, and this goes about using a scale. Okay, and this is a great example of a scale. All right, is there disciplines in place? Are they loyal? And here we can use a Likert scale to determine, maybe 1 being they are saying the right words, while 4 being asking the right questions. Okay. So we need to do a ownership versus accountability, and it will indicate, are they taking more accountability and what is their primary focus on? Another way, like we said earlier, is the responsibility, authority, and accountability checklist. Now this checklist, for example, can go according to this one, saying, is this your responsibility? We can say yes or no. Is this your responsibility? No. Okay. Identifying how the employees go about taking accountability and responsibility. Okay, so this is a checklist on how we can go about measuring and assessing ownership of safety. Okay. And then lastly, an example of a critical leadership evaluation. All right, so this form will then go about different topics regarding leadership that we need to evaluate. For example, we can evaluate behavioral strengths. Okay, here we can do another Likert scale with a scale from 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 on how the company's leadership is actually performing with their behavioral strengths. Okay, we can look at their confidence. We can look at another category of communication, performance, and development. So these are all examples on the different assessment tools we can use in ensuring ownership of safety. Okay, last slide, ending off with a quote: prepare and prevent instead of repair and repent. Okay, and this all comes from creating a safety culture where everyone strives for safety excellence. Okay, I got this quote from Safety Culture. You can see in the bottom left corner. Safety Culture is amazing. It is a free application for your computer, your tablets and your cell phones. Download it. You will have access to unlimited checklists, quotes, audits for site as a safety officer and a safety rep. All right. Thanks.